I hit a deer carcass in the middle of the road. So I grew up in a Corvette family. My dad actually has a 1967 Corvette. It's a 327 car with an L79 package and 4-speed manual. It's actually the car my dad taught me how to drive manual transmission on. Pretty special as a kid. And the Corvette's it's an American icon. It's America's sports car, and it's been important in our automotive culture. And in the last 2 decades especially, it's really become a top performer in the performance world, especially for the price. It's almost unbeatable in that price range. I always had this vision of an American car holding the Cannonball record. To me, the Cannonball is America's greatest race. And it seemed only fitting to me that an American car manufacturer hold that esteemed title. So when I started shopping for cars to make my Cannonball run in, I was looking at Cadillacs, the CTS-Vs. They've got the power, they've got the comfort and the space and the room. And I even had a friend toss out the idea of a high-powered diesel pickup, and you could convert the bed into a giant fuel cell, and we wouldn't have to make any stops. But in the end, I chose Corvette. Because when I think of Cannonball, I think of sports cars running across the country, and not a plush couch with a big engine in front of it. I also have this theory that when a foreign or exotic car flies by somebody on the highway, they get an uneasy feeling. There's more of an angry feeling. And not so much with Corvette. Like we said, this is a car that's kind of in our American culture, and this is the car that's on magazines at the grocery store. It's in the showroom at the dealership down the street. Somebody in the family has one. They're in the neighborhood. A friend has one. This is something that they grew up with. So when one goes by on the highway at double the speed limit, they don't necessarily get angry. I like to think they get a patriotic feeling. So the car I used for my run, the 2948 run, was a 2016 C7 Corvette. It's a Z51 performance package, black on black with black wheels, and a 7-speed manual. And the Z51 was a performance package that I needed for the trip. It had bigger brake rotors, and they were drilled for better stopping. It had brake ducting all the way around to keep the brakes cool. Dry sump oil system, the transmission and the rear differential had their own coolers, and it has what GM calls a uniquely tuned chassis for better handling. So out of the box, the car was all the performance I wanted. The major work was done on the interior of the car. This was all of our rally gear and all of our electronics. We did a Valentine 1 for radar. We had an AL priority laser jammer system, CB radio, and digital police scanner. And in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, we had a console box built, and that had 4 cigarette lighter plug-ins, 4 USB ports. It housed some of these other items, and then we also had an external speaker for the CB radio. On the co-pilot side of the car, this was kind of your data and information center. On the windshield, there was a GPS, and that's what we used for our time, speed, and distance averages. There was a GPS on the dash, and that's what we used for navigation and reroutes. And then the car was running mobile Wi-Fi, so the passenger also had an 8-inch tablet so they could be online. And after the rally gear was installed, the next focus was fuel capacity. So I needed auxiliary tanks. We could only make 3 or 4 stops, and we needed to double or even triple our fuel capacity. Well, because of the way the back glass on the C7 Corvette is shaped, it's hard to find a fuel cell that'll actually work in that car, in the cargo compartment. So we ended up with 2 16-gallon fuel cells. And the end product turned out fantastic. They were plumbed in line together into a fuel pump, and then that fuel pump would dump fuel into the main tank. So we had controls on the center console, and from the flick of a switch while we were driving at high speeds, we could flick the switch and put fuel from our auxiliary tanks into the main tank. It was very convenient, no stops. Unfortunately, this took up our entire cargo area, so there was no room for a spare tire, a jack, any tools, and the driver and the co-pilot had about 1 cubic foot of space per person for any personal items. So on the run, the car performed extremely well. One of the big issues I had was that maybe the weight of the fuel would affect the car in a negative way, and that wasn't the case. I think the extra weight actually helped us with traction. But braking and handling were over the top, and the performance of the engine was what you'd expect from a Corvette. And the car is just tough. It's a Chevy. They are built tough, and I hit a deer carcass in the middle of the road on a highway in the Midwest at about 110, and the car didn't even flinch. So it's a testament to how tough they are. And on top of performance, the fuel economy's there. At elevation in Denver, I was able to achieve a best of about 36 miles per gallon. It's a double overdrive 7-speed. In all honesty, I thought I could achieve about 20 miles per gallon on our run from New York to LA, and we fell a little short. We were just over 16 miles to the gallon, but for the speeds that we were hitting and our overall average, I think we did pretty well. So in my mind, it is the best rally car out there, and that car in particular will always be a top performer on the rally scene. When you're doing this, I mean, every second really matters. So if you could get up from, you see an obstacle or a hazard and you slow down to 80, and then all of a sudden you get back up to speed, rather quickly to your 130, 140 cruising speed, over that 29, 28, 27 hours, I mean, it all adds up. So at the end of it, if you had that 200 more horse, maybe you save 30 minutes. And that was my thought. If we had that, we save 30 minutes with power, and then maybe we eliminate rain. Maybe that saves us another 30 minutes. Maybe it saves us an hour. I don't know. Maybe you see a little less law enforcement. Maybe there's no construction traffic that day. So I mean, everything adds up. So whatever you can control, that's pretty important. So you kind of have to invest in the variables that you can control. So in the end, the Corvette's on top. It holds its place as the fastest American car to ever compete in the Cannonball, and it also holds its place as the second car ever to break the 30-hour mark. And I'm excited about the new C8. I could see one of those in my garage. I think the mid-engine will be an interesting way to go for the Corvette program. And I hope they leave a little extra room for guys like me that want to have some extra fuel.
Are you looking to buy your dream car? Premier Financial Services offers the flexibility of financing with the tax benefits of leasing. The PFS Simple Lease offers quick approvals and easy termination when you are ready for the next car. Visit our website and follow us for more.